Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Modern Yin podcast. I'm Kimberly Roberts, and I am the founder of SolefulYin, and I'm so happy you're here. If you've been listening to the podcast recently, you know that I've been on a bit of a banter talking about frustration, okay? But today, I want to talk about frustration in a little bit of a different way. When frustration actually becomes a signal, okay? Not as something that you're trying to get rid of, but it's more like something like, I want to understand, why is this frustration here, right? Because frustration, especially at this time of the year as we head into spring, that's not the problem. It's the signal. So if you've been feeling a little bit more irritable lately, maybe just a little bit more impatient, more tense in your body, there's a good chance that your system isn't working against you. It's actually just trying to move something, and it's communicating that with you. So let's talk about frustration as movement, okay? So just bear with me here. I'm going to get a little geeky on you. In Chinese medicine, or I call it TCM, okay? So traditional Chinese medicine, but from now on, I'm going to call it TCM. The liver system is responsible for that smooth flow of energy, okay? That vibe, that smooth flow. It's like, the car cruising along the highway, right? The movement, the direction, the momentum. So when things are flowing, we feel like, oh, I'm clear, I'm decisive, I'm emotionally steady. I'm like, I got my crap together. I'm the queen of flow. Here's the thing. That movement can get stuck. It can get blocked. And when we feel the frustration, it's not because there's something wrong with us. That's the one thing that I want to reiterate, okay? In TCM, your emotions are not bad. They're also not good. They're just signals, right? And frustration is a signal. And it's something inside of you that's trying to move, but it's stuck. Right? Frustration often feels like stuck movement. Does that land? Does that make sense for you? Because it certainly does for me. I know when I'm frustrated, yes, I feel it in my mind, but I feel it in my body. My body just feels like I'm trucking through mud. It's heavy and it's just stuck, right? So why does spring make frustration worse? Why does it bring it up? Because you know what? This is a really simple answer. Spring is the season of upward and outward movement. Think about it. Look at nature. Everything starts to grow again. Energy rises. Things expand, right? But if your system inside of you has been holding tension, pressure, or emotional weight throughout the whole winter, that rising energy that's brewing up inside of you, it's got to go somewhere. So instead of you feeling all inspired and woo, I'm ready to go, you're I'm feeling irritated. Instead of feeling clear, you're I'm restless. Instead of momentum, you're I'm blocked. I'm in decision paralysis mode. I just can't, I can't make a decision to save my life here. And then this is why frustration often shows up more strongly in spring. It's not random. It's actually going with the rhythm of the seasons, according to TCM. And right now, as we head into March 20th, well, at least in the Northern Hemisphere here, we're heading into spring. I mean, if I look outside my window, it doesn't look anything like spring today. In fact, it's been snowing. So I'm well, spring's supposed to be here tomorrow. And it's coming. And so is the wood element season coming. And I know that spring is coming, but there's still sometimes part of me that's I'm just I'm stuck. I feel like the pot of water on the stove with the lid on it, and all of a sudden it's right? And it's just ready to pop. But I'm no, I'm not going to let it pop, because I'm actually going to contain my energy and I'm going to move it in a healthy way with my nervous system in tow. So let's actually talk about the nervous system, okay? So if your nervous system is bracing, your body feels tight. Your breath is likely shallow. Your movement is becoming harder because the body is literally restricting flow, right? So now you've got this rising spring energy inside your body coming from the liver, but your nervous system is like bracing. It's like it's holding on, and it's like, no, we're not going. So there's resistance there, right? There's friction. And that friction between the spring energy rising in your body and your nervous system going, no, equals frustration. And it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because your system, your nervous system, doesn't feel safe enough to let things move. I'm going to say that again. It's because your nervous system doesn't feel safe enough to let things move. So it holds on. And even though in your mind you might be thinking, okay, I want to move, your nervous system is going, yeah, but I don't feel good about that yet. So no, we're not moving. So then the frustration, it's like the hamster on the wheel, and you just keep going round and around on this tailspin. So it's like, well, how do we get out of that? 2 words. 2 simple words. Yin yoga. It's your bridge. And this is where yin becomes so incredibly powerful. Not as stretching. And I will tell you something. I have said from the very first time I did yin yoga that there was so much more that was happening than just a physical stretch. Yin yoga is a way to restore movement in your body. Okay? Energy, movement in your body. In yin, we're not forcing. We're not pushing. We're not trying to quote unquote fix the body. Okay? All you're doing is, well, I shouldn't say all you're doing, but what you're doing is you're creating space, time in stillness, gentle stress in the connective tissues, the fascia, where our energy is contained. This brings a softening into the nervous system, okay? And then when the nervous system picks up on that, the body's like, oh, we can unwind. Oh, this is safe. And guess what happens then? Energy starts to move again. It's like you've got all these garden hoses, and I use this analogy all the time. You got all these garden hoses in your body. And right now, you've got a whole bunch of kinks in them. So the energy is moving like water is moving through a hose, but it's hitting a kink. And then it trickles through and it hits another kink. And it trickles through and it hits another kink. That's friction. Friction equals frustration. That water is not flowing through. That energy is not moving, right? But when we soften into the nervous system and the body begins to respond to that, and the energy starts to move again, then that stuck frustration starts to move. It begins to release quietly, gradually, without force. And that's the thing. Like in yin, a lot of people are like always trying to push that stretch because they think they're going to get more out of it. But in reality, a lot of the times you actually do the opposite. And I will tell you, in my own personal yin practice, like I don't need to use props. I'm quite flexible in terms of my body, but I use the props because I'm practicing from a nervous system perspective. I am practicing from an emotional perspective. And so the props actually help me to release so that I don't push. And it's not cheating if you use the props, because some people think, oh, if I use props, I'm cheating. No, you're not. Use the props. They work, especially if you want to release emotions like frustration. So often when people are frustrated, the first thing they'll say is, well, how do I get rid of this frustration? But I want you to take a different spin on that. A more powerful question is to ask yourself, what is actually trying to move? Like, where in my body am I actually feeling the frustration? What would happen if I stopped bracing and I just started breathing instead? What would happen if I gave my body and nervous system space instead of resistance? That's the shift. So you're going from, instead of fighting your body, you're going to listening to it. And that is such a big difference, because here's the thing. You cannot change what you are not aware of at all. It's like a light bulb. I say this all the time. It's like a light bulb on over your head and you got it on the off position. Well, you're in the dark, right? But the moment that you take time to soften is the opportunity where the awareness, where the light bulb will turn itself on. And then, you know what? The clarity comes in. So it's really, honestly, if you think about emotions like frustration, like emotions are meant to move. Emotion. Energy in motion. Emotions in motion, right? Nothing is ever meant to stay in the body. But the body is what keeps the score. And it says, well, you know what? I'm just gonna stuff this into this compartment, aka the liver, or I'm gonna stuff it into this compartment, aka the gallbladder, or whatever other organ, depending on the emotion you're having, right? Like every organ has a different emotion associated with it. So with yin yoga, my first and foremost approach to it is always about the emotional release. Even if I don't explicitly mention, oh, we're going to release frustration today. Sometimes I do, but here's the thing, it's your body and you're the one that decides when you're ready. And so the approach with yin yoga, the way I teach it, I call it like modern yin yoga. It's all about allowing the stillness to do the real work. And this is why I have my 7-day spring liver reset program coming up inside the SolefulYin yoga app. Because this program isn't about doing more. And it also isn't some kind of like 7-day challenge. It's about creating the right conditions for your body to release what it's been holding and storing onto all this time. So for 7 days, well, first we start off with a really incredible traditional Chinese medicine masterclass. It's theory-based, so it talks all about the wood element, the liver and gallbladder flow, emotions, meridians. Like it's a beautiful, beautiful masterclass. And then after that, once you get the theory, you get the embodiment practices. Because without the embodiment, nothing ever really lands. You might get like inspired by the masterclass, but if you don't have any context to work with it, then nothing is going to change. So that's why I focus on yin practices, breath work, acupressure, even reflexology. You're going to learn how to do reflexology if you've never done it before, acupressure if you've never done it before. You're going to see the power of like simple breath work in helping you to release, and yin practices to deepen the context of what you're learning. And also all designed to support that natural movement of energy, that flow of energy in the body during the spring season. So I know if your system is like stuck, tense, frustrated, rigid, inflexible, as in more your mind than in your body, then this is a really supportive program for you to begin. We start March 20th, which is the day, spring equinox, the TCM wood element season, and we're going to dive in deep. And you also get lifetime access to it and all the future updates, because this program runs every year and I always upgrade it every year. So frustration, I want you to remember it's not a flaw. Just because it starts with the word F doesn't mean it's a bad word. It's just information. It's what you do with the information that matters. And it's movement that's trying to move. And when you stop resisting it and you start creating space for it, guess what? Something begins to shift in good ways, not in explosive ways, in soft ways. This is why I call it modern yin, because that soft stillness really does the real work. So come and join us in the program. And thank you so much for pressing play on today's episode. I'll see you next week. Have an awesome rest of your day.